This is Sergey, a hunter with many years of experience operating in some of the harshest wilderness conditions imaginable. A hardened outdoorsman with extensive knowledge of survival and tracking, Sergey was no stranger to the dangers that come with extended expeditions into remote taiga. However, what happened to him during one particular trip was unlike anything he had experienced before. Something that defied any logical explanation. The footage featuring Sergey was uploaded to a YouTube channel called Bad Pioneer in February 2019. This channel doesn't belong to Sergey himself. The video material was published by a friend of his who is also a hunter and regularly uploads similar content. For Sergey, multi-day expeditions deep into the taiga, sometimes lasting entire weeks, were routine. He would venture into complete wilderness where he hunted and survived in total isolation, relying entirely on his own skills and equipment. After arriving at his destination and selecting a suitable location for base camp, Sergey spent several days actively searching for signs of his intended prey. The Manchurian wapiti, a large and extremely cautious member of the deer family. Hunting such animals typically requires night operations, during which hunters set up bait in locations where the animals are likely to appear. On one particular night, Sergey found what he considered to be a good vantage point. He climbed a tree and settled in, preparing himself for what he expected would be a long wait. It was at that moment that his nightmare began. Initially, everything proceeded as normal, but around 1 a.m., the forest silence was broken by strange metallic sounds of unknown origin. This is where understanding the context becomes crucial. Sergey was positioned in the very heart of wild taiga, approximately 100 kilometers from the nearest human settlement. Yet, despite this extreme isolation, quiet but clearly audible metallic clanking continued for roughly half an hour before it began to transform into something different, something more disturbing. Alarmed by these unexplained sounds, Sergey made the decision to abandon his hunt and return to his camp before the situation could become any clearer or any worse. However, on his way back, he detected new sounds, and this time they were much closer to his position.
Oh.
Attempting to scare off whatever unknown threat was approaching, he lit a fire at his camp. But this defensive measure had the opposite effect.
Тушим давай. Тихо, чтобы не поехала никуда. Сейчас зальем уж нахуй. Фляжку давай, блядь. Тут вода, не до воды, блядь. Заливай. Заливай, блядь. Тихо. Давай, не ссы. Быстрее, блядь.
The flames only served to pinpoint his exact location in the darkness. His anxiety quickly transformed into genuine fear. Something was clearly moving around the perimeter of his camp, breaking branches and snapping twigs as it circled. It seemed as though whatever was out there knew precisely where he was hiding. Realizing how serious the situation had become, Sergei decided to climb back up into a tree, hoping to gain at least some measure of safety by getting off the ground. He attempted to conceal himself among the branches, but once again heard disturbing sounds coming from below. The hunter's nerves finally reached their breaking point, and in an act of self-defense, he fired his hunting rifle into the darkness, not aiming at anything specific, simply trying to drive away whatever was stalking him. After several loud gunshots echoed through the forest, silence finally returned. This silence lasted until dawn. What actually happened to Sergei that night remains a mystery. What kind of entity or force did he encounter in that dark forest? Was it simply an animal capable of producing unusually unnatural sounds? Was it another human being, or was it something else entirely? Later, as he continued his expedition, Sergei discovered evidence of human presence in the area. Trees with old notches used for collecting resin, and nearby the remains of a long-abandoned camp. The video accumulated a significant number of views from people around the world, and the comment section filled with a diverse range of theories. There were theories that he had stumbled upon some kind of cultist encampment, and that they had simply been trying to scare him away from their location. Some even speculated that Sergei may have encountered Bigfoot. But the truth remains unknown. No one can say with certainty what was happening that night in the Siberian taiga. A simpler explanation is also possible. Sergei may have simply encountered another hunter, and in the complete darkness and isolation of the wilderness, they both frightened each other. Regardless, this incident continues to generate discussion and debate among viewers. In September 2024, a content creator named Megan uploaded a video to YouTube with an alarming title, "I was attacked in the woods by a man." Typically, Megan's channel features everyday lifestyle content, travel vlogs, personal updates, and similar material. However, this particular video documented something far more disturbing. In this video, Megan had decided to embark on a solo hiking trip in a California forest. At the beginning of the footage, she explains to her viewers that the purpose of this excursion was to take a break from the stress of everyday life and find some peace and tranquility in the natural beauty of the Californian wilderness. During the first few minutes, she speaks casually about her life and recent experiences. At first glance, it appears she is completely alone in the forest. Nothing unusual can be seen or heard in the background. However, moments later, that all changes abruptly when she suddenly hears approaching footsteps. And that's when the situation takes a genuinely disturbing turn.
Like the true narcissist here.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Okay, well, you scared me.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Scared to get to walk by and eat the stairs off the wall and something scared you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm a sweetheart. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
probably more dangerous than me. You're probably more evil than me. Look at the dark hair you're saying. You're bomb. Little stoner.
Okay, that was terrifying.
An unknown man appears seemingly out of nowhere, and he's holding a broken bottle in his hand. He begins walking directly toward Megan while engaging her in disjointed, incoherent conversation. His intentions are unclear, but the situation immediately feels dangerous. Megan's fear is palpable in her voice as she tries to process what's happening. Recognizing the potential danger, Megan quickly makes the decision to leave the forest as fast as possible. And this was absolutely the correct decision. Despite the fact that the man claimed he didn't want to hurt her, the fact that he was holding a broken bottle and had approached her in such a threatening manner suggested otherwise, or at the very least provided reasonable cause for concern. Fortunately, despite the frightening nature of the encounter, Megan was able to exit the forest quickly and without sustaining any injuries. She has continued to maintain a positive outlook and still runs her blog. While she occasionally recalls this incident, she tries to discuss it with humor, though she readily admits that she was likely very fortunate to escape the situation unharmed. In 2019, the creator of a YouTube channel dedicated to wilderness exploration ventured into the forest with his wife to retrieve trail cameras they had previously installed in the area. These were fairly remote, practically uninhabited wilderness locations. Along the way, they unexpectedly came across an old trail they hadn't noticed during previous visits and decided to follow it. The trail led them to a curious and somewhat disturbing location, and they managed to capture the entire discovery on video. Initially, they stumbled upon what appeared to be some kind of cache or storage area. It was a makeshift hut, and inside they found an old metal canister. When they opened it, they discovered it was stuffed with animal pelts, including marten, fox, coyote, and badger.
2 marten that were loose, a fox with a marten that was stuffed inside of the fox, so 3 marten, a fox, a coyote, and 2 badgers.
The hides were tightly packed, some even stuffed inside others. They appeared moldy and dried out, and based on their condition, it was clear that someone had been attempting to prepare them for sale. Someone had invested a tremendous amount of work into this operation because catching, skinning, and processing this many animals would have required an entire hunting season, possibly months of dedicated effort. And yet, everything had simply been abandoned deep in the forest. The channel's creator admitted that he had never encountered anything like this before. His theory was that perhaps some hunter had prepared this cache a long time ago but never returned to collect it. If that was indeed the case, what had happened to that person? Had they encountered a dangerous wild animal? Had they been injured, or had they simply gotten lost and been unable to find their way back? What would cause someone to abruptly abandon such a significant amount of work deep in the wilderness? In the comments section of the video, viewers shared stories of missing hunters, both those whose remains were eventually discovered and those who simply vanished without a trace, never to be found. However, the most disturbing aspect of this discovery came later. The couple walked approximately another 100 meters and came across a second structure. This one was also abandoned, but caught on the branches was thick, dark fur that the channel creator could not identify. The origin of this fur remains a mystery. This is Dee, a content creator who runs a YouTube channel called This Dark Adventure. On her channel, she documents solo journeys through remote wilderness areas. In June 2024, she uploaded a video that would generate significant discussion among her viewers. The video was titled with a simple description: "I head out into the woods of Ohio when I found a strange trail. I follow it till nightfall." In the footage, Dee can be seen making her way through dense forest undergrowth. Even in daylight, such a solo expedition would feel unsettling, but as darkness began to fall, the atmosphere became considerably more ominous. In the first part of the video, nothing overtly threatening occurs. However, that changed abruptly when something appeared without warning.
What is on my face?
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Yep. Yep. I can't go home. Oh. Sorry. Please. 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 I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
In the footage, what appears to be a pair of glowing eyes can be seen shining between the trees, seemingly watching her. When Dee notices this, her fear intensifies immediately, and she begins pleading as she tries to leave the area. The most disturbing aspect of the encounter is what happens next.
What is that?
It's just no. Fuck is it, dude? No! It looks like a person, man, but no person. It looks like a fucking person.
A humanoid silhouette begins following her through the forest, though it never attacks. Instead, it simply seems to be tracking her movements, as if trying to frighten her away from the area. Fortunately, Dee was able to find her way out of the forest relatively quickly. In the comments section of her video, viewers debated extensively about what she had encountered. Some insisted it was definitely another person, possibly with malicious intent. Others suggested it could have been a black bear, potentially preparing to attack. And, of course, there were those who believed she had encountered something paranormal. Regardless of what it actually was, Dee emerged from the experience unharmed, and whatever had been following her did not pursue her beyond the tree line. YouTuber Trevor, whose channel contains dozens of videos documenting hiking expeditions through mountainous landscapes and forest routes, set off on another journey. This time, he had embarked on a solo excursion across the foggy expanses of Dartmoor, with plans to spend the night camping in the wilderness. The video was titled, "I Am Not Alone, Eerie Scary Solo Camp." The route proved to be challenging, involving difficult terrain and unpredictable weather. However, after overcoming these obstacles, Trevor eventually found a suitable location for his camp among the fog-shrouded hills. He pitched his tent and settled inside for the evening. As night fell, a dense veil of fog descended over the entire area, and everything around him sank into complete silence. The isolation was absolute. Trevor lay down inside his tent, expecting a peaceful rest after a long day of hiking. However, his calm was suddenly disturbed when a strange noise outside his tent triggered immediate alarm. Gathering his courage, Trevor called out to whatever was outside, attempting to identify the uninvited guest lurking nearby in the darkness.
Really no more mesh than... Hey! Someone eating my poles. What are you doing? Don't eat my poles. No, 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 no. Go on. Go away. You're eating my ropes. You're going to snap all my ropes, you little git. Come on. Nick off. Go on. You're not coming in here. Good boy.
To his immense relief, the mysterious visitor turned out to be neither a dangerous predator nor a threatening person. Instead, it was simply a wild horse that had become curious about his tent and had wandered over to investigate. After this brief encounter concluded without incident, the rest of Trevor's night passed peacefully. The next morning, he packed up his camp and departed from the foggy Dartmoor safe and sound, with nothing more than an interesting story to share with his viewers.